They sign him for a year. And what does it mean for J.J. McCarthy? I think we all know. J.J. McCarthy, and I'm not saying it's easy to figure out first-round, second-round quarterbacks. I know it's hard. But J.J. McCarthy is a cautionary tale for every general manager in the NFL. Beware of two things: the game manager at the college level, and beware of when the number one trait for a college quarterback is he's a winner. That's what they said about Tebow. That doesn't mean anything. Okay? These game-managing college quarterbacks usually come from Alabama or Ohio State, Georgia, these football factories where they can turn and hand it off, throw 23 times a game. J.J. McCarthy, he came from the best Michigan team probably ever. 13 guys were drafted, stacked roster, and he only threw for 22 touchdowns. Joe Burrow played on a stacked roster at LSU. He threw for 60. If you're going to play on a roster like that, you don't have to carry the team, but I better see like 45 touchdowns, 55 touchdowns. Every quarterback in J.J. McCarthy's class, every one, Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, Drake May, Caleb Williams, every other first-round quarterback, every other one, USC, Oregon, North Carolina, LSU, some good programs, they had to throw for over 300 yards a game. J.J. McCarthy threw for under 200 yards a game. That's the first warning sign. And the second, and I, pat in the back time, I said, he is the one quarterback coming in this first-round draft class. I don't think it's going to work. The other thing was, first of all, he didn't have any great wow traits. Caleb Williams, wow, horsepower. Bo Nix, toughness, durability, athletic ability. Jaden Daniels, kind of a Lamar Jackson type player. Drake May, big size, big arm. Penix, good arm. J.J. McCarthy's a winner. A winner is how you should describe a poker player or a lawyer. If you tell me a lawyer, the guy's a winner, it's kind of all I need to know. Poker player, guy's a winner, sits down at the table, that's Phil Hellmuth. That's all I need to know. We don't talk about any other athlete and say he's a winner. We don't draft cornerbacks, left tackles, guards, running backs and say, well, production was so-so, but he is a winner.
Colin does that all the time, though. Colin literally talks about he had a whole take where he was like, don't tell me that wins and losses aren't a quarterback stat. Like I don't understand. Like I don't understand that was the whole thing that was saving Patrick Mahomes' reputation in 23 and 24 was that he's winning. Yeah, it doesn't look good. Yeah, his stats are not good, but he's winning. He's a winner. So, I don't really understand that. I don't think that this automatically means that J.J. McCarthy is just done. The Minnesota Vikings had to make this move and it was the easiest move you could ever make. It was the easiest move you could ever make. I'm going to be making a separate Kyler Murray video. But I wanted to just talk about this since Colin is focused on J.J. McCarthy here. The Vikings had to do this. 1, they're paying Kyler literally like nothing, so it's a no-brainer. 2, J.J. McCarthy has been injured in his first 2 seasons and even when he was healthy has been really inconsistent. You can't just say he's our quarterback and then just move forward. You need someone. And so when you have an opportunity to get a Kyler Murray, well then yeah, of course you're going to take it. You have to you will lose your entire team. You will lose your entire team. People will get fired. You have to do this. You have to do this. But it doesn't mean that J.J. McCarthy's career now is just automatically done or they has no chance. Now we're going to go back to college and this and that and this and it's just like whoa. Can we chill out here for a second? People were so high on J.J. McCarthy. They were talking about Harbaugh trading Justin Herbert so he can then draft J.J. McCarthy. Something that I said was dumb and made no sense. But still that's what people talked about during that time. And then people after that preseason game were just like oh J.J. McCarthy. And then even after J.J. McCarthy played against the Chicago Bears, Colin was like, this is Baker Mayfield. This team loves him. They're putting their arms around him. He's like, this is reminding me of Baker Mayfield's energy. And now it's just like, he's not good. Told you it's done. Move on. Bye-bye. See you. And it's just like, alright, we got to chill. And there's a few things here. There's a few things that we need to talk about when it comes to J.J. McCarthy specifically because, we know these other quarterbacks, it takes time to develop. Everyone wants to point out to the Sam Darnolds, etc., etc. The difference in those quarterbacks is that they went to bad organizations where J.J. McCarthy did not. He went to a great organization. He's gone to a great organization. He has the great coach. He has the great weapons, etc., etc. But there's a couple things that need to be emphasized as to why we can give JJ a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. 1, he has been injured. Now, that is a separate issue, though. So, we got to separate him just being injured and we're just like, wait, can this guy stay healthy? And him being injured and it just affecting his development. I'll pat myself on the back now because I've been screaming after that first year when he was injured. He had 0 development. And people were like, no. He sat for a year. And I kept screaming at Vikings fans, no, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. And essentially Kevin O'Neill came out and said that. He was just like, I don't even know where this kid's at right now. We're still trying to learn a lot of stuff. And that's what Kevin O'Connell needs to watch him see him actually play and practice. I don't care about having an hour meeting once a week or something. It's watching film. It's like, that's not enough. I need to see you on the field. I need to see you on the field just so I can learn who you are and then go from there. Then the coaching can actually begin. They didn't have that for an entire year. Patrick Mahomes famously had that. With Andy Reid. Okay. Now the second year when it's time to kind of develop and work through an NFL season, he gets injured again. And for a long time, the O-line was a mess. Carson Wentz was getting lit up. I remember, Dan Orski was like, I don't care what quarterback is here right now. I don't know any quarterback that's going to be able to have a successful job right now with this team. So, that's something whether you have Kevin O'Neill or not, whether you have the logo of the Minnesota Vikings or not, the team was not up to par in that specific stretch of time. Then you look at a mechanical issue of J.J. McCarthy and his mechanics, the way he was throwing, all off. And those are things that you're simply not going to be able to work on during the season. This is all off-season work. And again, Sam Darnold's own private quarterback coach Guru Palmer, discussed all the mechanical work that he had to do with Sam Darnold that made him significantly more accurate. I think it might be like his wasn't just his deep ball. It was a specific throw. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it was a specific throw that he had to change his mechanics that made him be the one of the best at it. And I apologize. I completely forget. Wonder if it'll be easy for me to try to find. I can sew up that clip. But what I want to emphasize is we've seen the accuracy and the mechanical issues change from with Daniel Jones, with Josh Allen, Sam Darnold, and these are some of the things that J.J. McCarthy needs to work on. So, it's not a matter of just magically finding a Kevin O'Connell or an Andy Reid and like now we're going to be great. Like, there were concrete things that some of these players had to work on. Sam Darnold was putting in the work before he just got to Kevin O'Connell. He was not a mess. Got to Kevin O'Connell and then simply was no longer a mess. That's not how it worked. And so now there's still room for J.J. McCarthy to work on those things just like Sam Darnold had to, just like Josh Allen had to, just like Daniel Jones had to. And so that's where I'm like, okay, let's see how this all-off scene is going. Let's see the type of work that J.J. McCarthy is putting in and the progress that he's making. That's what I want to see because there were concrete things that it's just like if you just work on this, you should improve because some of his off-script stuff was great. Some of his playmaking abilities were great. And some of the more concrete, buddy, your arm is here. It needs to be here. That's why you're missing these throws. It's putting in the work to get your arm to go to here. And if he can do that, then you should ideally see a lot more success. So, it's not a matter of just well, Kevin JJ McCarthy went to a great team. He's been there for a couple years. He hasn't performed well enough. He's clearly not good. That's not the way I'm seeing it. If it was 2 solid full years of him playing, then I could understand. But it wasn't until last season that they were able to even realize, hey, your mechanics are a mess right now. And it's not something that you could even work on. And it's not something that he can even think about too much because it was his first year playing, first year starting, and he was in and out of the lineup. You don't have time for that. Sometimes you're just like, I know I'm doing something wrong, but I just have to do it the way how I've always done it. Lots of athletes are in that situation when you know this is something I'm going to have to work on, but like I can't do it in the middle of a game right now. You just can't, you absolutely positively can't even do it in practice. It's like we don't got time to completely rework how you throw right now. You just got to do what got you here right now. And that was the situation that JJ was in. And again, him getting injured and not being healthy, that is a legitimate issue that you need to factor in when trying to figure out who's my quarterback of the future, but it's also separate in terms of how we need to discuss it. It's legitimately its own issue and why you would consider, hey, it's time for us to move on, but also something that needs to be factored in a different way. So, that's what I was attempting to do here. So, I have a Jordan Palmer clip talking about some of this. This isn't the exact clip that I was thinking of, but it still essentially sums up exactly what I'm trying to discuss here. He's 5-0 on bye week. And so, an example of this was last year in Minnesota. He's 5-0 on bye week. And he's sitting on my couch right here. And we ran the numbers and determined that the largest grouping of misses that he had was outbreaking routes to the right. And it was 24.6%, 6% I believe. And so we addressed the mechanical issue, what he was doing mechanically and what he was doing from an alignment perspective that was causing those misses. 100% of those misses were a little bit behind the guy. 0 of them were out in front. So we gave him things to do around his house, a golf club between his arms, moving, seeing the golf club come into your peripheral vision turn into tape on the left shoulder pad, building that peripheral vision, and it was all around front side alignment, drawing that shoulder closed. Since then, he has not missed one to his right behind a guy. We're able to kind of press delete on the future 24.6% of your misses in a contract here on a Super Bowl run. Yeah, that's not just magic. That's not just Kevin O'Connell calling the right play at the right time and being a great play caller or a great coach. That's putting in the work. And that's a mechanics. Not only is it a mechanical thing, but then it's also isolating specific variables as to hey, we see that you're missing a lot of these specific type of throws. Hey, we zoomed even more. Not only do we see that you're missing these types of throws, but we see why you're missing these types of throws. Hey, we realize that not only you missing these types of throws, but we see why you're missing these types of throws. And we see that it's a mechanical thing. Hey, here are things that we can do to improve your mechanics. That's coaching. That's development. That clip I got to make sure that I'm going to record it and save it in my file of coaching clips because this is what people fail to understand. This is why I scream I'm going to make this into a separate video. This is why I scream the importance of coaching. This is why I think I really came up with one. I'll give another pat on my back. Why I think I came up with one of the best metaphors, examples, comparisons as to why people get coaching wrong and why fans undervalue coaching. They think it's just essentially like growing up. That when you're a rookie and you go from first year, second year, third year, fourth year, that it's just like growing up. You didn't have to work hard to develop yourself when you were in 9th grade to 10th grade to 11th grade. When you were 10, 11, you just grew. It just happened. You just naturally got bigger. You just naturally started to one day have to shave. Like it just happened. There was no other extra work. And even if you played sports growing up or you had your efforts, you just naturally kind of improved because like you were just getting bigger and stronger and faster. You were no longer 9. Now you're 15. Therefore you're better. There wasn't actual concrete work. And so I think a lot of people confuse that. Also, especially if you only played like in gym class or something or just, even intramurals, you just knew other kids that were just better and other kids that weren't. And it wasn't those other kids that were better. It wasn't just because they were putting in all the work and the kids that weren't. It was just like that guy's better. I was just naturally better than in terms of just like the average kids out there, not like the elite athletes. But I was just when you're an actual athlete, you're just naturally better than everyone else. And then you're in your own group where now it's everyone's got to compete, now you got to put in the work to be better whatever it may be. But if you just take a bunch of kids in school and high school, if you're just naturally an athlete, you're going to be better than literally 100% of all the other non-athletes. That's why in gym class again, that's why I think gym class is kind of a great example. You're just naturally better than everyone else. Gym class is the great equalizer because you're not now being in a specific demographic of like, well, yeah, we're all athletes. We're all baseball players. We're all basketball players, football, soccer, whatever it is. When you're just in gym class, it's just everyone. And you're just like, yeah, I don't even play volleyball, but I am better than all of you. I'm better than I don't play hockey, but when we're playing hockey with a little ball and we're in on a basketball court, yeah, I'm going to be light years better than you. Just because. Just because. And so people don't understand the actual work that you need to put in to get developed, to grow, and evolve. And so Jordan Palmer really illustrates that absolutely perfectly in 50 seconds. In 50 seconds. This is some of the work that J.J. McCarthy has in front of him. And that's a good thing. The fact that they were already able to isolate some of these things with J.J. is fantastic. It's up to JJ to put in the work. And it doesn't mean that it's just like, oh, if you just change your mechanics now you're great like that. I don't mean that either. I really don't. But my point is that outside of the injury concerns of him just being unable to stay healthy for a full season, there is still reason to believe that JJ McCarthy, if he can stay healthy, can be your genuine quarterback of the future. But I absolutely positively understand why you have, snorts, to get Kyler Murray. Who have to get Kyler Murray because 1, I got to make sure that you can even work on some of these things and actually improve them and actually have it matter, JJ. And I need to make sure that you're healthy. Other than that, we can't play this game. We can't do this song and dance. So, everyone trying to bury JJ McCarthy in this moment of time, it's undue. It doesn't really make sense right now. And I'm definitely going to be really interested and you know what, and this is what's so funny too. This is where things are crazy. And this is why I try so hard to be so consistent as I possibly can and be as unbiased. And even when I say unbiased, it's not even just a matter of not me looking at things through a biased lens, but it's being unmoved by what people want me to say. A lot of fans want cheerleading. A lot of people watch my videos and they want me just to cheerlead, and it's hard to go up against that sometimes because in one video I can make a video talking about the Minnesota Vikings and I'm praising them because that's how I feel, and they're like, man, you're amazing. You're great. You know ball. And then in the next video I have to criticize them and it's like, you don't know what you're talking about. And it's just like it would be easy for me just to say nothing, but we see it with Nick Wright and the Kansas City Chiefs, right? No matter what happens, you can always spin it positively. And it's just like no, until last season I kept saying JJ McCarthy is not going to be great right off the bat. He's not going to be great. Everyone needs to relax. I mean, J-Mac came out and said JJ McCarthy is going to be Josh Allen. Dan Orlovsky said this Vikings team is going to be exactly where they were with Sam Darnold last season. And I was like, I don't, guys, I'm supportive of JJ. I believe in JJ. And I ripped Colin's takes against JJ, but I'm like, I don't think that's the way it's going to unfold. And I had to really go up against it. And people are like, why are you trying to pull down JJ? Why are you being so negative? And I'm like, I'm not. I'm just trying to see this accurately. And now everyone's trying to bury JJ. And I'm like, guys, we got to relax for a second. We got to chill. So, you got to just always take a step back. You got to really try to fight to see the reality of the situation and get past the cheerleading. Get past just the this is what I want to be true rather than what is just simply true. And Palmer's example right there is why you got to stop just putting all the credit on Kevin O'Connell. It's just you can't just give him all the credit for Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold wasn't a mess and then he got to Kevin O'Connell for one season and just magically had success and then he went on and won a Super Bowl. It's not how it worked. That's not how it worked. Not only are you downplaying the impact of other coaches, but you're also downplaying the impact of the work that Sam Darnold put in. And again, make no mistake about it, Kevin O'Connell was a huge contributing factor. This is where I have to kind of keep bouncing back and forth and be like, this is how consistent I am. I believe Kevin O'Connell is an amazing coach. He is an awesome coach, but you still have to tell the whole story. Like, do I think that Kevin O'Connell is going to be able to put Kyler Murray in a position to succeed? I do. Do I believe that Kyler Murray is now going to reclaim his throne as the top best quarterback in the NFL? I do not. Do I think that with a banged up JJ McCarthy who still needs to work on a lot of stuff and just a very healthy Kyler Murray will have more success? I do. But I just think the success that you potentially have with a Kyler, and this is where I'll make a separate video talking all about Kyler because I kind of had this like aha moment last night thinking about it. It was just like you get a little bit of Baker. You get a little bit of Geno. You get a little bit of that where you're gonna have some really cool moments, some interesting moments, some fun moments, some excite. You're not going to get Sam Darnold. You're not going to get Sam Darnold. Why? Because as Palmer just showed you, he put in the work. He was relentless. He was obsessed. It wasn't just I'm just here to be I'm a little pit bull. I'm just here to be really big and tough and strong or I'm just a great positive story of never giving up. No, Sam put in the work. So if you put in the work, you can get some of these results. What have we questioned about Kyler Murray's football background? Him putting in the work. I didn't make it up. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Minnesota Vikings? Moving on from JJ McCarthy, if that is indeed what's happening, that's what Colin's saying. And he's like, you know what this all means. And he's going on a whole victory lap about being like see JJ McCarthy, Michigan, Oregon, USC. But let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get some discussions. Let's get some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here and I absolutely love to see part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.